Live from the NJ.com studio comes the only weekly TV podcast you'll need, where a lofty critic squares off with an obsessed superfan on everything from highbrow drama to lowbrow reality. The cocktail shaker is ready. Prepare for your TV hangover. Now, your hosts, Vicki Hyman and Erin Medley.
Hello and welcome to TV Hangover. It is September 1st and I'm Erin Medley alongside Vicki Hyman.
Would you be Erin Medley if it was September 2nd?
Maybe. Well, I don't know what I'd be on Twitter. Okay. But right now on Twitter, I'm at E_meds.
Okay.
As we've discussed previously. No change. And she is at Vicki Hy, VICKIHY. And we are a TV Hangover Show at TV Hangover Show. That's our Twitter handle.
That's it.
Vicki, you're a little stuffy today, no?
I'm a little stuffy today. Yeah, it's like the weather. It's just nasty. I'm sorry if you hear a lot of that's me.
Or if you hear sneezing, that's probably me, because that's how my allergies manifest themselves. So I told you that last weekend I finished up a bunch of shows I was trying to binge. Although I guess it's not binging.
It's not binging if you have to struggle to finish them. That's not binging.
Weeks in between. So I finished The Get Down.
Which is actually, I have to say, even though I liked it, you're further ahead than I am then.
Impressive. Here's what I'll say. The last two episodes, so 5 and 6, were better than the first 4.
Okay.
So there's that you can look forward to. And then I finally finished
The Walking Dead?
No. Still on season 6, which is now on DVD. Hopefully it'll be on demand again, and then I will finish it. But no, I finished Bloodline season 1.
Okay, good. And you?
I'm still on the fence about the entire season, all 13 episodes.
You thought it should be 10 episodes.
I thought it should be 10 episodes.
That's like the theme of our show.
It is the sweet spot. But once we got to the episode, look, spoiler alert. I've been told that I say spoiler alert too late, really? So I'm going to say it now. Season 1, Bloodline, spoiler alert. If you plan on watching, don't listen for the next 30 seconds. The episode where Coach Taylor kills his brother. Shocker. I was like, no.
You didn't really feel that coming from the very beginning?
Well, no. Well, I did. However, when the other brother, the drunk brother, gave him the gun, and then he's in this episode, he's contemplating whether or not he should take the gun to their sit down, and then he puts it away. I'm like, oh, he's not going to kill him. But it was even worse. He killed him with his bare hands. He drowned him in wherever they were.
Someone argue it was even better that he killed him with his bare hands, as I would argue.
Wow, I guess. So that was surprising, and that took that twist in the storyline, which then explained a lot of things that we'd seen previously. I was like, oh, this is not so bad, but I did not need 12 episodes to get to that point.
And it set up season 2 very nicely, although even though Bloodline was one of my favorite shows of last year, I have really not been able to make a dent in season 2. I have to admit. I've gotten about 2 episodes in. Yes, okay. I did.
And why? Do you think it's because you have competing interests, or it's just not that good?
A lot of it is just competing interests. Just a lot of other stuff that I really need to watch. And I don't know. I mean, the summer's really hard because you got Real Housewives, which takes up a lot of my time. But also, I have been just sort of booking through all the pilots for the fall season, which is what I've basically been doing for the last couple of weeks.
And we're going to talk about a couple of those, and we'll talk about a few a few each week as we approach the new fall season. I want to get into some news now. So it was announced this week that Stranger Things is returning for season 2,
as expected. But to your disappointment.
To my disappointment. So we know a couple of things about this second season. The Duffer Brothers revealed that there will be 4 new characters. Most of everyone from the first season will be back, except we don't know about 11. But I think she'll be back. I mean, how could she not be back?
Yes.
And it will take place around the same time. They're not doing a huge time jump.
Which is what I brought up when we discussed whether it should have a second season. I thought that would be great. And they did say that was something they considered from the very beginning, coming back 5 or 10 years later. It's going to take place, I guess, where events left off, but also outside the Indiana town that they were in. a little bit.
Right. And then also we're going to see more of the Upside Down.
Yes, which I'm excited about. Was there more than one monster?
Who knows?
I don't know.
I guess we'll have to find out. And so it returns when? 2017?
Yes.
That's fine. I can wait until then. It better be good. Mm-hmm. Oh, the one other thing about season 2, there will be 9 episodes instead of 8.
Which is still okay, right? It falls under our 10 below.
Yes, as long as they don't...
Acceptable.
And they better not be, like, much longer than they were.
No, they were like not even an hour long, right?
They were like 40 minutes.
It wasn't like, as we're going to get to, like, the night of finale, hour and 45 minutes, right, for no reason. But okay.
Right. But here, I can see I could see with Stranger Things, them taking each episode to like 55 minutes, but still keeping it at
Or also
9.
like Mr. Robot, which has also been doing the way too long episodes.
With Mr. Robot. I'm still behind on Mr. Robot. Are you caught up or no?
I did not watch last night's episode.
I think I'm 3 weeks behind. I'm on the episode.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? You have missed a lot.
I know. I'm on the episode that starts out with like the old school USA.
You have missed a lot.
Okay, don't tell me. I'm going to catch up. That's what I do in my spare time at work. Is catch up on Mr. Robot.
You need to catch up on Mr. Robot.
I will do that. Also in news this week, they announced the season 23 cast of Dancing with the Stars. So let me run through the names real quick. We have Amber Rose.
Okay.
By the way, speaking of Amber Rose, she has a talk show on VH1 Friday nights that I'm really into.
What's it called?
The Amber Rose Show. It comes on, I believe, at 11 p.m. There's a lot of sex talk. Mm-hmm. But I like her. I like her a lot. So I'm curious to see how she does in Dancing with the Stars. We have Calvin Johnson, must be a sports person.
Which actually is. And actually I was like, isn't that the guy who dated Taylor Swift? But no, that's somebody else. Calvin Harris, right?
Oh, my God.
I got very confused when I just read the
Not
names.
even close.
He's from the Detroit Lions, FYI.
Sure. Rick Perry.
So pretty much abandoning any future political
Former
career.
Texas governor. No, why?
How many people who have been on Dancing with Stars can you really take seriously after that?
A lot.
Who?
Can't name them. Mary Lou Henner.
From Taxi.
Who has a photographic memory.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's right, she does.
I
remember that.
You do. Maureen McCormick.
From the Brady Bunch.
And then we also have Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. He's someone that people will take seriously after this. He's a very successful producer.
You're right. I'm talking politics.
Okay. Well, then I don't have an answer for you. Jake T. Austin, who I hear is all the rage with the kids.
I guess.
I don't know who that is. All right.
This is interesting, right?
Goodness. Tara Jolie.
That's pretty exciting. First little person on the show.
First little person, and you guys know I watch all the little person shows. Mm-hmm. She's on Little Women LA, which I watched last night. And there was a little teaser preview for her turn on Dancing with the Stars.
I didn't actually see the preview. Since she's obviously much shorter than her partner,
yes.
It's a lot different than somebody who is, dancing on one leg, who's missing a leg and has a prosthetic. So how did she look dancing?
They didn't show her dancing with her partner. Mm-hmm. They showed her dancing individually because she is a dancer. She is a Britney impersonator for a long time, and she's been on tour with Miley Cyrus. I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Yeah. I'm a little concerned for how that's going to work, but we shall see.
Is she a villain or a hero of the Little Women series?
Depends on the week.
Okay.
Depends on the week, Vicki.
But you're missing our New Jersey girl.
I know. There are a lot of people missing from this list that I'm looking at.
I have to say, ABC only released half of the publicity shots.
I
had to pull other art when I was doing the
ridiculous.
The post.
So of course we're talking about Lori Hernandez.
Who, come on, she's going to win, right?
No.
Why not? What are you talking about?
We don't know how she dances.
Well,
she can be America's sweetheart, but they don't play on Dancing with the Stars.
You've seen her her floor routine. It's very jazzy. She's great.
But that's not,
she's got a lot of personality.
Translate to ballroom dancing.
She took ballet when she was younger.
Again, ballroom dancing is not ballet.
But let's talk about the person everybody wants to talk about.
Does everyone want to talk about him?
Yes, I'm really annoyed. I'm really annoyed that they cast.
Before we get to him, let me just name the the 2 other people the 3 other people that we didn't name yet. Vanilla Ice. Okay. James Hinchcliffe. I'm going to assume he's a sports person.
Race car driver.
All right. And Jana Kramer, who is both an actress. She was on One Tree Hill and a country singer. So the person you're talking about.
Ryan Lochte.
Ryan Lochte.
Now, Ryan Lochte was actually locked down before his big...
No pun intended.
Yeah, his big Rio, I don't know, scandal.
Yes.
I don't know. I listened to what the ABC chief had to say about it, and he was like, "Oh, well, it's all going to blow over by the time the show airs, and also this is an opportunity for people to tell their stories." And I'm like, "Well, why do we have to give Ryan Lochte the opportunity to tell his story when there are so even just? I mean, I know we have Lori Hernandez, but other Allison Felix."
Well, you can't have two black people.
Okay, how about
I guess I take that back. We do have Amber Rose. But yes.
Ibtihaj Muhammad, the fencer, the Muslim fencer. I mean, there are many people who have
had they already signed the contract?
They could have taken it back. I'm sure they could have taken it back. But come on, we are rewarding terrible behavior, and I know that.
Are you kidding? I think this is hysterical.
Yes.
The only reason I wanted to have this conversation with you is because I think this idea is so ridiculous.
Why?
You have Teresa Giudice.
Yeah, she's on my list.
Convicted.
She is on my list.
Actually,
who are rewarding bad behavior.
Who committed
real crime. I'm not defending. I am not defending
Ryan
Teresa.
Lochte's just an idiot.
I'm adding to what a lot of people are saying. Like, why do we give second chance or third chances to people who do not deserve them?
Real people.
You're giving them lucrative contracts to people who have done wrong.
It's not like they're going to go out and find the world's poorest person. You're talking about people who are already being rewarded for not doing anything legitimate anyway. I mean, now,
Ryan Lochte
was an Olympian, but Teresa Giudice is just a woman from New Jersey. Let's be honest here. The culture of celebrity in our country is so out of control that just rewarding these people, why are we rewarding Kim Kardashian? She made a sex tape,
dozens or hundreds of people? How many hundreds or dozens of people could they have cast on Dancing with the Stars that would have been great?
I think that this is what happens when in a culture where celebrity is not what it used to be. Let's just say you don't have to actually have a talent to become rich, famous, or idolized. You then can't be like, oh, we have to have this high standard about who we want to feature on Dancing with the Stars. It just sounds silly. Who cares?
I'm not saying hold them to a high standard. They have to be Mother Teresa, but there's nobody else they could find to be Dancing with the Stars besides a guy who told huge lies and brought shame upon the American.
I'm sure that if we look
Olympic
into
team,
past cast members of Dancing with the Stars, there are some people who were not up to snuff.
Grossed me out.
I personally, I don't care. Ryan Lochte, first of all, the whole Ryan Lochte scandal, which I put in quotes, was blown completely out of proportion. Of all the things that we can talk about, the fact that most media outlets led with that story for a good 4 or 5 days says a lot more about us than it does about Ryan Lochte. So that's sort of where I fall on the scale. If Ryan Lochte wants to be on Dancing with the Stars, who cares? It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of everything else that's happening in our world.
I don't think that we should be giving him the opportunity to redeem themselves at ballroom dancing. No, I don't. I think there could have been tons of other people they could have picked.
Yeah, I just think it's silly. It's silly. We can agree to disagree.
We are agreeing to disagree here.
I think the difference is that you care a lot, and I don't really care at all. That's where we disagree, one way or another. All right, so let's talk about some other celebrities.
I'm so angry at you right now.
Why are you angry?
I'm kidding.
Is what happens. Vicki gets really angry, and then I'm kind of just like, all right, next topic. Name some other people, Vicki, that receive second chances that you didn't think deserved them.
God.
Well, you said Teresa.
I mean, there are so many. I mean, okay, can we go really micro here and go how about should they have brought back Chad to Bachelor in Paradise after acting so awful?
On the regular Bachelor?
On the regular Bachelor.
Absolutely, because he was a ratings draw.
Oh, but also...
And knowing what we know from Unreal, not saying that he did not behave poorly, because he did. And
did not behave poorly?
And he has continued to behave that way, even after being kicked off Bachelor in Paradise. But was he the worst... Bachelor contestant
I don't know. He's
ever?
the only one.
Bachelorette?
He's one of the very few that I saw. So.
Absolutely not. So, I mean, there's that.
Ugh.
They brought back Josh to Bachelor in Paradise, and Andy Dorfman wrote an entire book about how terrible of a person he was. And you know what? He hasn't been that great either, but he's still on. I mean, I don't know. When it comes to reality shows, as long as you're not punching someone in the face, I think it's fair game.
Really? That's your bar?
For the most part.
Okay.
It is. Go ahead.
All right.
Next.
Okay.
Who else?
I did not prepare for this.
I
I'm
thought
sorry.
you
We're
knew- I
talking
thought
about
you had some
Teresa,
other ones.
and we're talking about Ryan Lochte, and I was thinking about Chad when I was watching Bachelor in Paradise a couple weeks ago.
Got it. Understood. All right. Well, this is a hot topic, or hot button issue. Clearly, button. If you have any thoughts about it, please tweet us. I'm dying to hear what you have to say. At @E_meds, at Vicki Hy, VICKIHY, and at TV Hangover Show. All right. So we're going to take a turn here.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the season finale, or the series finale, they say, of the night of.
God willing, the series finale. Not because I didn't love it, just
it was good.
like great things lie.
And then let's move on. All right, so we finally find out whether or not Naz is convicted of killing Andrea.
I thought you were going to say we found out whether or not he killed her or not, which you said was going to really annoy you if they don't show what happened. They did not show what happened.
They did not show what happened, but they pretty much laid out who killed her, and that was enough.
Although they were I think one of the weaknesses I thought of the last few episodes of the show was too many red herrings. The too many really, really good suspects.
Right, except I think they set it up in the finale in a way where you understood this guy is not just any other suspect, but he is the one that actually did it. They didn't
set him up until the last, which is maybe one of the reasons why the last episode was so long, because they had to basically create the bad guy.
Right. And again, spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah.
If you have not watched the finale, don't listen. But Naz there was a mistrial declared.
Because of a hung jury.
6-6. And the new suspect in the murder of Andrea is her financial advisor / boyfriend, played by
the guy from that
Royal
Long Island
Pains
TV show.
Yes,
Paulo Costanzo.
Costanzo. Yeah, he's the one who we now think murdered who
has a history of beating up prostitutes and stole $300,000 from her account
because he has a gambling habit.
Yes,
and I think he did it. I mean, there's no reason for me to believe he didn't do it.
But is that the point of the show?
Not the point of the show. I think the whole point of the show is how the legal system, or the justice system, works, and what being in prison can do to a person.
Yes, although one of the many ambiguities of the show, which I loved, was that when they brought forth the evidence that Naz had always been violent that we didn't know about ahead of time, did it create a criminal, or did it bring to the surface his who he really is?
So see, here's where I think the nuance comes in. So you say that Naz has always been violent.
No, I said it's ambiguity. You don't know. But
he did two things that were physically violent toward another person. But I don't think that necessarily means that he is a violent person.
It doesn't, but he also, he was a bit of a scared rabbit at first, but he very quickly got up to speed, and, you were pretty inflamed by his accessory to murder in the second to last episode. He adjusted very well, which leads you to believe, what kind of person is he really?
I don't know. It didn't lead me to believe that at all. I think that what it got me thinking about was how or what a person will do to survive in the circumstances they're in, and I don't know how much I can judge him for that. What was interesting, and I heard this on another show, is the whole season it was sort of ambiguous about the time frame. We didn't know how long he'd been in Rikers, and I think that was one of the things that I thought they could have improved on. But we did see the video footage, and it had timestamps on it. So there was the one where I think the gas station one may have had a date on it, and then the one where he and Chandra kissed had a date on it, and the time was 4 months.
Yeah, there he was. I assumed he was there for several months.
Yeah,
which actually I think is a little.
I think it was October to February. So how many months is that really? That's not 4 months. It's 5 or 6. Yeah. So I think that's a long time to be in Rikers, and I think that his transition while he was in there seems appropriate.
Can we talk about where the finale completely fell apart for me?
Yes,
and actually, the second to last episode, I'm sure we agree. The character of Chandra, the lawyer.
Oh my lord!
I mean, really bad writing and plotting there, completely unbelievable. She's a young lawyer. Yes, she's probably a little bit out of her depth, but she seems to be a very smart woman. And when she just kissed Nas, I know, you're like, well, it's Nas. But, I still think she's too smart to do that. And then there were two fatal flaws. One, she really wants him to get up on the stand, which we saw was a big mistake.
Was a bad idea.
And
that actually led to the second.
Yes. So she had to agree to help smuggle in drugs.
Vagina drug smuggling.
Oh my God, to Nas, which just completely boggles my mind. Never.
She hesitated for like a nanosecond and then was like, all right, I'm in.
It made no sense.
I'm in. I'm not only am I going to the drugstore to buy condoms so I can smuggle said drugs, I myself am actually going to the shady part of town to pick up the drugs from the drug dealer by myself.
In a sense, there was one sort of theme that was really brought home in the finale when Freddie was talking to Nas about like why he took him under his wing. You're like a unicorn. You're so innocent. And I think that's what he represented for Jon Stone too. And I think, that's what he represented for Chandra, somebody, innocent who she could believe in, they could fight for, but her actions were ridiculous.
I agree.
And it really, it didn't blow the series for me, but it bothered me.
It did bother me too. I thought her actions were crazy. And now she lost her job at the law firm. So maybe she can go defend some real guilty
if she's
people
not
Oh,
disbarred.
that's true. Also, this judge bothered me because I thought he should have declared a mistrial.
Yeah, it didn't bother me as much. There's a lot of egos at play there.
That's true. Oh, let's talk about the district attorney,
Helen.
Oh, is that her name?
Yes, wonderful.
Who knew? So Helen finds out from Box that there's another strong suspect, and she basically says to him, well, we're already in the middle of this case. Yeah. Too bad.
And our evidence is really strong against Nas.
Which we know is untrue. Not strong at all.
Well, no, it was he was found with the bloody knife, on his person.
But it was
a strong case against him.
But I thought the defense put up, but remember, he has to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and in that case, I think the defense put together a really strong case where there was tons of reasonable doubt. So that's why I would say their case wasn't as strong. But, I think everything in this series showed that the justice system isn't always about getting justice. It's about moving through the cases and just coming up with some sort of resolution.
Although I really loved how, they didn't make Helen into a villain. Like, you saw her struggling with it in the closing statement. She's holding on to that knife. She's like, what should I do? What should I do? And then in the end, she joins forces with Box to bring down the guy from the Royal Pains. So
whatever. Yes, whatever his name is on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, overall, I enjoyed the finale. It didn't bother me so much that it was a little longer than usual by an hour. I think the way that they wrapped it up was great. And then, of course, there was that final scene. Well, not the final scene, but the final scene with Nas, where we see that he is a full-blown drug addict. And his life has completely changed, from 5 months ago.
It was it was heartbreaking when he had that little confrontation with his mother. I didn't think the parent. Right. I think of all the wonderful moments they gave to so many of the characters, I thought the parents got a little short shrift
in this episode.
In this episode, I think also throughout. The mother had a good scene with Chandra, but it's like
Remember the dad delivered the food to Chandra's house?
I actually don't remember that.
Oh yeah, sorry. She ordered food, and when she went to answer the door, it was the father.
Yes, he left it there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I thought they had some nice scenes, but just I would have liked to see. The father was basically like, "Yeah, go out and have a good time," and it's like I don't think if my son had just come out of prison after being probably unjustly accused of a murder and basically had his life destroyed, I'd be like, "Yeah, go out and have a good time," because that's what caused the problem in the first place.
No, but I think the father was probably what that was supposed to demonstrate was how. The dad thinks that everything can go back to normal when things have changed so much.
And the mother does not.
The mother does not. Well, she also thought he was guilty.
Yeah.
Which can cause a problem. Okay, so let's get to the most important scene of the episode. The cat!
Oh, the cat.
The cat lives with John. What's his name?
Jon Stone.
I want to call him Jon Snow, so...
No.
Jon Stone, the cat...
Erin Medley.
Especially names. The cat lives, which I think everyone questioned.
Well, I mean, I think everybody was expecting the cat to play a role in solving the murder, which it didn't.
Right, which
but
it
I mean,
didn't
it's
at
like
all.
it's a symbol. I mean, Jon Stone was believing in Nas, and like at the end, I really don't remember how he felt about it, but it seems like he needed something to hold on to, and Nas was it for a while, and Nas got off, which is good. He told him, move on, move forward.
Right.
And then he was like, and then the cat's like, his symbol for, you got to have love in your life, you got to have something to fight for, even if it's uncomfortable. And so he decided to
and the eczema is back.
let the cat roam. Then the thing that got me confused, and people pretty much told me no, the cat showed up at the very, very end, was that did he have that whole eczema outbreak because he had brought the cat back before the opening arguments?
No.
See,
Someone said no, that's not what it was. Something like a panic attack or something. So the night of is over. Hopefully forever. Do not need a season 2. Let it be an event series that stays as a 1-season event series. HBO, I beg of you, please, let's not ruin this with a season 2. All right, so
The Dennis Box Mysteries.
you know what? Actually, a box spinoff that takes us back in time to look at some old cases. I might be able
Box
to
and
get
Helen.
with that. I don't like Helen,
love
but I
Helen.
like Box. All right, let's switch gears to Real Housewives talk.
Oh my goodness.
So, you guys know that Vicki and I have been down on this season of Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Except I have to say, the past episode. But go on.
Yes, Vicki enjoyed the past episode because it seemed real.
Weirdly enjoyed it. Oddly,
much.
strangely, weirdly enjoyed it. Was touched.
It wasn't unenjoyable.
Unenjoyable?
I don't know why I was like, what's the word? No, it wasn't unenjoyable. It was probably the best episode so far this season. But it was still a little bit of a snoozer for me after having watched the season finale of another Real Housewives franchise, Real Housewives of New York, which I challenged Vicki to watch.
Which I did.
And
I figured out what the difference is between Real Housewives of New York and Real Housewives of New Jersey this season. I found out what I like when I was, so we're like 6 episodes into Real Housewives of New Jersey. You know what we haven't had any of yet, which is what RHONY.
RHONY.
Yeah. Rumors. There's been no rumors. That is what drives these shows. And I totally forgot about that. Somebody has some information, doesn't know whether to tell the other person. Everybody else knows about it. Psst, 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 psst. Finally tells the other person, drama!
Right.
I mean, it's the rumors. There have been no rumors. I mean, like, in Real Housewives of New Jersey, the stripper rumors and the cheating rumors.
True.
That is what has been driving everything. Whether Teresa is in prison, is going to prison. Not exactly a rumor, but still, there's been nothing like that this season.
True.
That's the big difference.
Well, on the season finale, Real Housewives of New York, for those of you who don't watch, which, by the way, you should, Bethany Frankel is given evidence that Luann de Lesseps, Beyonce of 1 week,
and who's been dating for 4 weeks.
like for 4 weeks, yeah, who also slept with Sonia and dated Ramona, that he was in a bar making out with another
Regency.
woman.
Where is this Regency? I must go to the Regency.
No, please. All the places they mentioned on that show, you don't need to go. And that he was making out in the bar with this woman. And there was photographic evidence.
Okay, can I ask you this?
Yes.
Who gave Bethany the evidence?
Okay, so Vicki tweeted me saying, like, clearly the producers gave Bethany this evidence.
Just like I've always been saying, the producers gave the Manzos the book about Danielle. They don't just find these things out.
It was found in the library.
No, I'm sorry, it wasn't. But go on.
No, so
I honestly
Bethany
don't know.
Frankel has a radio show on Sirius XM on Andy Cohen's station.
Mm-hmm.
And so weeks ago, before 3 or 4 weeks before the finale, she talked about this. It was a friend, it was actually a friend of hers who gave her the photo. And the only thing is he just didn't want to be named on the show. But he was willing to say yes, I did
It
this.
just seems very bogus when you think about how you have to frame and plan a reality show that this would randomly come up, and this is while the show was filming, because that must have happened while the show was already filming.
But
right?
I think the difference, it did. But I think the difference with Real Housewives of New York is you really have to understand New York culture and understand the high society and people
it was a very different culture than New Jersey.
Right.
Very, very different.
And I think in the other Real Housewives franchise, they like to make themselves seem like they're part of the elite. and like we are, the highfalutin people in society, where in reality no one knew any of these people before they were on Real Housewives.
In New Jersey, that's not what they're doing, really.
No, but they do like to throw around their money and like say
they throw their money, but it's not like people will be talking like people in society. People in Wayne are not like they don't. I mean, like
but they do think people in Franklin Lakes are talking about that.
They do, but it just isn't as much of a motivating factor in New Jersey, which may be why I like it more. I don't know.
Whereas in New York, these people are out and about with the high society people. I mean, Sonia Morgan was married to J.P. Morgan's grandson.
Oh, really? That's where Morgan comes from.
Yeah. Bethany Frankel is always going out on the town at these events. I mean, like they are
and
actually.
Carol Radziwill, she related
Carol
to Jackie's
Radziwill
sister.
Was best friends with John and Carolyn. Yeah. And was married to a Kennedy cousin. Like, these people are those people. And so, in their world, it's very insular, it's very small. So, if Tom is at the Regency making out with some chick, it doesn't seem so far-fetched that someone who Bethany's friends with was also at the Regency. Like, it's just a little different, But anyway, so the drama factor, what did you think? Did you think it was too much, right on point, or just not your speed?
Well, I kind of liked it. The thing that really cracked me up that I was like, what is going on here, was how Bethany was so shaken up by being the message. It turned out to all be about Bethany. Like, what was up with her hand shaking? What was that? I'm like, does she have Parkinson's? I don't know. I mean, why was her hand? I've got to tell her this information. Oh my God. And then everybody's like going around Bethany. Oh my God, it must have been so hard for you. I was like, what is that?
It was so over the top.
It was ridiculous.
It was so
And I'm sorry, and also the cameras with the shaky cameras going from room to room, following Luann around.
So when
Bethany's in the cover, I was like, what am I watching?
When Bethany breaks the news to Luann that her fiance was caught making out with some woman at a bar, they're on a girls' trip to Miami. And so they're all staying on the same floor in different rooms. And, Bethany breaks the news to Lou, as she's called. And Luann's immediate reaction is like, well, I have to run screaming from the room, basically. And then Bethany proceeds to have a breakdown.
Pictures.
She doesn't want to.
And then she comes back and looks at
And then she calls Tom and like, how can you do this in front of everyone? The whole town knows. And then later in that episode, Luann and Tom make up like it was like nothing happened. And then what I also enjoyed was when Dorinda Medley, no relation, when Dorinda was talking to Ramona, was talking to Ramona about how Luann and Tom called her and said, come to the restaurant. The bartender's going to tell you that nothing happened. And then you can tell everyone else that nothing happened. And I was like, that
despite evidence to the contrary.
Correct. And I'm just like, I love when they break that fourth wall and they're like sort of telling you what's happening behind the scenes. Oh, yes.
No, I'm sorry. And somebody made a point of it later in the season, later in the episode, about how Luann seemed to care much more about what other people knew as opposed to what Tom had actually done.
Right.
I think, like, my favorite moment was when Luann is sort of, like, going crazy and she goes to her girlfriends who are gathered in her room and she's like, listen, I'm going to talk to Tom. Don't tell anybody else about this. Let me deal with it privately. And I'm like, you're on a reality show.
This is happening in front of you. There are 5 people in this room who are not on camera.
Let me
like you're on a TV show. How about at the end when Luann tries to turn the whole thing on Bethany, where it's like, this is Bethany, stay out of my business. Yeah. Don't tell me. And Bethany's like, all right, if I see Tom, like
having sex with a woman in Central Park, I won't do it.
I'm not going to tell you. And I was just like, that's such typical Luann behavior, which is what made the Real Housewives of New New York reunion episode,
which I did not watch. I was watching
Vicki,
pilots.
You have got to watch it. It is so good.
Does it reach the heights of the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion where everybody turned on Teresa? Because that is probably my favorite reunion show ever.
Because what happens in the reunion is Luann's whole defense now is saying that Bethany. Let me go back. Earlier in this season, Bethany went on a tirade against Luann and said that she sleeps with married men. She's not a girl's girl. She doesn't care about, screwing people in bathrooms around New York. So in the reunion, Luann says, no, you're sleeping with a married man. Backstory, Bethany is currently dating a man who's in the middle of a divorce. Bethany herself also just wrapped up her 4-year divorce. So Luann is trying to equate that with sleeping with a married man, which is much different. And I don't think anyone buys this, but she is like trying to hammer it home in this reunion. So Bethany whips out her phone, calls her boyfriend's adult daughter, and says to her on speakerphone, "Does anyone in your family think I was sleeping with your father, while he was living with your mother?" And the daughter's like, "No, like, we all love you. We know that's not the case. Like, they were family friends, but otherwise, no." But Luann is like harping on it, and Bethany gets up and oh my gosh. I mean, the drama is unreal. I also skipped the part where in this reunion, they accuse one of the housewives of doing cocaine.
Which housewife? Ramona?
Dorinda.
Okay. I was just guessing based on the hair from the finale. But
the way that it came across made it seem like they all do cocaine. Oh. And Dorinda was like, "I don't do drugs." And they were like, "Let's not talk about this." How about we just not talk about the cocaine, okay? This season of Real Housewives of New York has been so good. I really wish that you would watch more. No? You can't do it?
No. But why is there even vegetarian ceviche? That was my second favorite line from the episode.
What would that be? Vegetables in vinegar?
It was like an example of like how high class, New York is compared to New Jersey. And like Bethany's like, "Why is there even vegetarian ceviche? Put that back." And I was like, "That's so funny." I love the real estate much more. I love Bethany's apartment.
Oh,
Bethany's apartment.
Oh, of course. Oh, the real estate's definitely much better in New York. So I thank you, Vicki, for indulging me in watching that season finale because it was that good. All right, so let's talk about two new fall shows
that have gotten a lot of buzz.
We will not spoil anything.
It's going to be hard.
No, it's not. We're just
the second one.
We're not going to spoil it. And we're just going to give you our brief reviews of the pilots.
First impressions. Because all we got was the pilots.
Right. So we don't know anything past that.
Yeah.
So Designated Survivor, that's the Kiefer Sutherland show on ABC, where he is a member of...
He is the Housing and Urban Development Secretary, low-ranking, wonky, sort of geeky, who... because they're having a State of the Union, I believe. One cabinet member who is in the chain of succession has to be at a separate place in case something happens. Well, guess what? Something happens.
The Capitol explodes. Yes.
I was amazed, actually. There was even like I thought they really kind of skimped out on the effects. And so they have Maggie Q, who is the FBI person in charge. And you see sort of like the Capitol Dome on the side. It's like, dude, no, it would all be blown up. There would be nothing there.
Right. Because it was a huge massive explosion. Yes. And so he becomes the president because he's the only person left. And that's really the setup of this first episode.
I think it was a promising setup. There were a lot of things that I didn't like about it. At one point, Cal Penn, New Jersey, represent, plays...
And former White House employee.
Yes, plays a speechwriter. And there's a scene where he was just given, like, a lot of really bad lines to say. I just felt like the writing was very clunky.
Right.
And really brought me out of, the scene. I feel like Kiefer Sutherland was great.
I do think that some of it was kind of predictable, too, where people around the president, the new president, don't have confidence in him, and they're trying to overrun or override all of his ideas, and he kind of like stands up to them, and I'm like, I'm the president now.
Yeah, a little bit, because there was one moment where you think he's going to go into like Jack Bauer mode, and then he's like throwing up in the bathroom, which I thought was funny, a nice little nod there. I thought there was just like a little too much going on, and as a result, with a lot of pilots, the problem is you don't know where is it going to go from here.
Correct.
They spend the whole episode, and so I didn't get a good feel for, Maggie Q is investigating. Every time it went to Maggie Q, it's like, okay, what's going on here? Is she going to be involved with Kiefer? I mean, are they going to talk at all? What's going on there?
Then his assistant or something?
Yeah.
I thought that was there was a weird disconnect.
Yeah, it's just, there was like a lot of stuff going on, and I didn't get a feel for what's going to happen next. What kind of show is it going to be? Is it going to be like a conspiracy thriller where we have to find out who bombed, the Capitol?
Right.
Is that going to be how the plot is propelled, or is it going to be about this guy who nobody thinks should be president, becomes president with apparently a lot of the Congress also gone?
Right.
Yeah.
most of the Congress.
Yeah, presumably most of the Congress gone, yes. Which I think would probably be the more interesting way to go. But it doesn't look like that's the way they're going.
It looks
more like Thriller.
It's very hard to tell. And so we'll have to see some more episodes. But right now, I'm still in. I'll keep watching.
I'll watch a few more episodes, certainly. I hope they give me more before I have to write my review because...
What are we going to say? And then the other show we both watch is on NBC, and it's called This Is Us.
Which is a show I did not have very high hopes for based on the teaser.
Teaser.
Do you want to tell us
what's in the teaser, and what you see is that there are 3 people who are all turning... Or 4 people.
4 people who have birthdays on the same day.
Who have birthdays on the same day. They're all turning 36.
Not all of them.
No, yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, they're all turning 30. Yeah, they're all turning 36. And really, that's about it. Like, you see, there's the one fat woman or overweight woman, and, there's the actor guy, and there's the dad who's expecting a baby, and then there's the African-American guy who doesn't know his father, and they all have their birthdays, and you're like, okay, so how are their lives intertwined? This is where we can't tell you anything.
Yes.
Because it will ruin the
What
pilot.
was actually a really beautiful, wonderful moment.
Exactly. So that aside, big reveal aside, I will say I enjoyed the show. I thought there were some very funny, touching moments. Sterling K. Brown, who we last saw
oh my God,
in The
so
People
wonderful.
versus OJ.
It's like I knew that he was in it, but he didn't look like him. Didn't look like him. It's like I swear like his face changed.
Should we say he didn't look like Chris Darden?
He didn't look like Chris Darden. And I swear he had a different face shape. I'm certain of it.
I agree. I think maybe he's thinner. He doesn't look like what we would expect. I didn't realize that was him until after you mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that was him. So he has a very touching storyline where he was adopted when he was young, and he goes on the search for his real father, who turns out to be
tell me,
Ron Cephas Jones.
Oh, that's who you were talking about.
Who's from Paterson, New Jersey.
Yes,
and he's been everywhere. He was on Mr. Robot. He was the one who was killed in the second episode of this season.
I'm putting a call in to his publicist right after this.
We need to get him on this show. So that's a touching storyline. Then you have the overweight woman who is looking for love. She's
looking to lose weight, I think, and she may be finding love along the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is correct.
Yes.
She goes to like a Overeaters Anonymous meeting where this really skinny woman goes, you guys just don't understand
what it's like to not be able to lose those 6 pounds. I actually had the same conversation with my aunt yesterday, who was complaining about the 3 pounds she needs to lose, and I'm like, I go up and down like by 5 pounds every day. I don't understand this.
Funny. It was so funny. And then she meets a guy who's also overweight, and that's where their story goes. Then it turns out she has a brother who is an actor, famous actor on a show called Manny.
The Manny. Basically a himbo. But he wants to be a real actor.
But he wants to be a real actor. And, that happens. And then you have this couple who, Mandy Moore and Milo Ventimiglia. Thank you for saying that because I was going to screw it up. And they're about to give birth to triplets.
And Gerald McRaney
plays their doctor.
Gerald McRaney.
Me too. And he has a good role.
And he's going to be continuing on because I don't know if it was certain at first whether he was going to be.
Oh, okay. Yes, so he'll be involved in some capacity.
Yeah. This, by the way, is from Dan Fogelman, another Jersey guy. And it had.
Can we get him on the show?
Well, I've already interviewed him. He was behind Gallivant, which was surprisingly enjoyable. Now I think canceled.
Yes,
but he also did Crazy Stupid Love, which is one of my favorite movies, and it does have a very crazy stupid love feel to it. So sort of like different storylines, all very affecting, a lot of different some different tones, but all working together very beautifully
and all intertwined in a way we will not spoil.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
I thought it was great too. It was an hour.
It was an hour, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought this was like one of those half-hour drama things,
wonderful.
But no, it was an hour. So Vicki and I both give that show 2 thumbs up, and we'll have to see how they continue the story throughout the season. That's going to do it for this episode. Before we go, I'd just like to make one quick announcement. Zoo has been picked up for season 3. So I guess I'll be watching
Zoo in outer space.
What nonsense again next year. So bad. 4 million viewers this week. It's crazy. So I'm not the only one watching. Don't forget.
No, it's on CBS. You are not the only one watching.
It's on CBS. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TV Hangover Show, at @E_meds, and at Vicki Hy, VICKIHY. Subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher, and we will talk to you next week.